Hey, good morning, everybody. Lord's blessings to you today. It's Thursday morning. Blessed Thursday morning to you. So, listen, the book of James, I've chosen a couple of verses from the book of James. The book of James is an incredibly, people like to call it an incredibly practical book of the Bible, which means it really has a lot of truths where the rubber meets the road, where it's just very plain and very clear, and it's not spiritual in nature. It's really to be put to use in our own lives. And so I'm in the first chapter, and the first chapter talks a lot about trials, struggles, temptations, that sort of thing. It's got the famous passage, "Count it all joy when you enter into various trials," and it talks about how the trial, molds your character, and it talks about how when you're tempted, you got to stay true and you got to stay faithful to God and that sort of thing. And then it has some verses in verses 19 and 20. And I think these verses are here because they are about us controlling ourselves and controlling our emotions. You see, one of the most common times for us to lose control of our emotions is when we're in a hardship and we're in a difficult time. We're in a conflict with somebody else, and so these words are very practical and very true. And he says, "So then, my beloved brethren," he says, "let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." We need to be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, because the wrath of God does not, because the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. We need to be, we need to take control and listen more than we argue or more than we speak. I know that I can be very emotional. I can get My emotions can move me to really just kind of try to take control of the situation. And sometimes I react and I really don't know everything. I really don't know everything I need to know about the situation until I find out later. And so I need to be swift to hear. I need to be more willing to hear and not just shut my mouth and let them speak, but I need to really hear what they're saying. I need to let their words penetrate my mind and penetrate my heart. I need to be swift to hear and slow to speak. I need to take control of my mouth and take control of my tongue and slow to wrath. I need to take control of my anger. And the truth is that because what it says is the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. My anger meted out on a situation or a person is not going to produce God's righteousness. It's not going to produce the righteousness that God wants. It's not going to produce the work that God wants. So when I find myself in difficulties, when I find myself in conflict, that's when I need to be the most conscious about controlling my emotions, controlling my anger. I need to be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, for the wrath of God, for the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. God bless you guys. Get out there in faith today. Love you. Bye.